Work relationships matter. Strong relationships at work can increase productivity and job satisfaction, which helps keep those happy employees longer. And research showing that solid workplace relationships can even decrease healthcare costs. And let's be honest here, if you have a good relationship with your employer, it's less likely they'll let you go. So it's even more imperative to reinforce those bonds. Joining us now to give his insight on how to build strong relationships within a company is Brad Engelert, an author, advisor, and technologist. So first and foremost, good afternoon, Brad. I think it's really important here to start with the basics. So if you wouldn't mind, can you explain to us some of the biggest benefits to having good relationships in a company?
Well, the first is trust. If you have a trusting relationship with your boss, with your direct reports, with your customers, you're going to be more profitable in the future, and it's reciprocal. If you help others, they'll help you.
And then how do you have a good relationship, right, with a colleague or a boss?
That's a great question. There are really three principles that apply to all business relationships. One is to understand their goals and aspirations. So you just ask, what are you trying to achieve? Second, set and manage expectations, something that you should do, but we don't always do. And third, genuinely care about their success. If you do that with your boss, with your direct reports, customers, and vendors, you will be very successful.
But let me ask you this, Brad. Is it okay to ask your boss point blank, what are your goals? Is that something you can do?
Yeah, and it's a simple thing to do. When I was the boss, I would encourage my direct reports to ask me what are the goals for the year, and I welcome their support. It's a team sport, and if they don't know what your goals are, they can't help you get there.
Okay, so within an organization, whether it's company or something else, there's inevitably going to be conflicts, right? So how do you address conflicts while maintaining positive relationships?
Well, you have to be honest, and you have to not let things fester. And it takes courage to be honest. And I had someone who worked for me who uh, was concerned about, was I uh, giving them the right challenges and such? And I welcome that discussion because, if you don't have the courage to ask, then you fall into suffering in silence and you might leave the company. And that would be a waste for everybody.
Is forgiving also as much as a factor in terms of maintaining positive relationships when there's conflicts?
Absolutely. And I would also add apologizing. Uh, when you are in a big organization, um, things will go wrong. And it's not if they'll go wrong, but how we deal with it when they do. And often I would apologize. And there's an art to apology. One is acknowledging what happened, two, hold yourself accountable for that. And three, outline what you'll do to keep it from happening again. If you do that consistently, you will build trust over time.
So how do relationships in a workplace, how do they impact employee efficiency?
Well, if you have happy employees, you will have happy customers. And so I was made sure that when I was leading a large organization, that I would articulate the values of the organization. And the number one value in my organization was family first. So if you had to go to the doctor's office or go to a school play, we had 330 people in the organization who could backfill for you. And we set those expectations, those values. I would model those behaviors. So I would go to the doctor, I would take vacation, I would go to training, and I would expect my direct reports and their teams to do the same.
All right, so in this day and age, there's actually a number of factors which potentially is an obstacle to building strong relationships. And one of them, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is remote employees. How do you build strong relationships with remote employees?
So for a couple of years, I was with a global tech consulting firm for 22 years. For two of those years, I had a team of 90 professionals all across North America. And we would go to different projects in different parts of the country. But once a week, I would have a call with all my leaders, and we would talk about what's going well, what could be doing differently, what are some of the opportunities ahead, and make sure we were giving our people stretch positions in all the opportunities ahead of us. In addition, twice a year, we would get together in person to build those personal relationships. And then I, as the leader, would go visit each of the projects, whether it's in Atlanta or uh, um, Michigan or California, and I called it my Winnebago trips. And I would go meet with the clients. I would meet with my people, all levels of the people, and take them to dinner. And they really enjoyed that. When we did a 360 review, the feedback was they loved those Winnebago trips.
Okay, just a final question, real quick. What are your thoughts on breaking down barriers between teams, right, or between departments? How do you do that?
Well, you set the expectation that they are responsible for understanding what other teams are working on, and they can't just focus on what they're working on. And oftentimes, there are synergies between the teams. So I would just set the expectation that I would expect them to work together as a team.
Okay, well, again, thank you very much for coming on today, Brad. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.